Good evening. It was another hard day there in the office for bookies at Rosehill. Hard day at the office. Um, there were 8 races, as we know, 3 favourites and 3 second favourites, all very well backed. All very well backed. 10-1 chance, Sables, and the last winner, Emotional Circus, went up second pick. Bookies reached for it. Went up 11-4 second pick, $3.70. Bookies couldn't get it to one board on the fence, $7, plenty of $6.50. You couldn't miss getting $6.50, and they returned to $6, but you could have got $6.50 when they jumped. Came from second last and won. The rail today, well, the track was given out good. Some riders and trainers said it was a bit too firm. I can't work that out. But and the rail was in the normal position. The wind was out of the southeast, and then directly out of the south for race 7. There wasn't a bad breeze for race 1. The Weather Bureau forecast the wind was going to pick up and get very strong. Excuse me, towards the end of the day. Possibly at race 7, the breeze was fairly strong, but not enough to cause any problems or any bias. The first race we saw on the screen for the robots in the grandstands and wherever, 104 in the marketplace, a bit skinnier, 107.5. They returned the bottom one here. Westchester, who ran second, came from last down the outside, beaten 1.8. They returned to $3.90. Well, it was $4.40 on the fence when they jumped. Couldn't believe it just wouldn't go off. It was there, $4.40 when they jumped. As I say, came from last and ran second, but winning the race was the second pick, New Beginning. It sat in third last hole, ridden by Christian Reith, and he sprinted very quick after turning for home. And when he joined the leaders halfway up the straight, he ducked in, caused a bit of a chain reaction to the horse inside him, Del Zero, which went in and knocked bumped another few runners. It didn't have any effect with the result of the race. One of the runners to get cop a bit of a prat in that ordeal was Nocturnal, the favourite, who drew barrier 1 and was held up turning for home. Missed the kick slightly from that alley when the gates opened, and as I say, copped a couple of prats in the run. Wouldn't have won even if it would have got out. But we must say the fence today, even though there were 3 leaders to win, and guess who trained those? I own the lead, Gay. I own the lead, Gay. She said 3 of hers led and won, and the other one, Piero, it sat second outside the lead and got home. But they were all off the fence. There was nothing that stayed closest to the fence all day. The runner that stayed closest to the fence all day and won, or just got beat, was Soldad, the only 4-year-old in the 4th race. It ridden by Karen McAvoy. It led on the fence, and he was tied up against the turning for home and gradually eased off it. And by the time they got to the winning post, he was a good 4 horses off, if not 5 off, but was nabbed near the line. So Soldad's run was most probably pretty good. Going back to the first, as I said, New Beginning, it sprinted very quickly when it came, hooked out wide, and it finished up winning by 1.8 lengths. Nocturnal got held up, but wouldn't have won even if it would have got clear. The winner was the best run in the race, I suppose. But what do we say about the inside here? It was Nocturnal from barrier 1, and the horse that led, Craig Lee Tina, on the fence, ran second last. And also, were they in the worst going? We might say the fence was a little bit iffy. The second race on the screen and in the ring, it was fat there. It was really fat, 108, and in the marketplace, 104.5. Not bad, but unfortunately the winner was the Avery Prosier, and Nash jumped out from the outside alley, and he velodromed for a while until he got to the lead. But when he got to the lead, he didn't go anywhere near the fence. Turned around the turn 4 off the fence, and coursed that position, if not a little bit wider, all the way down the straight. Geez, they were spread out here. There was 36.3 lengths between first and last. We all saw Prosier win at Hawkesbury, and even though they weren't a great bunch, you just you could see the way that it had a turn of foot and did a few things wrong that day. That it was going to be hard to beat when produced in the city, which was the case today. Bookies put it up $1.80, 5 to 4 on. They let you lay on, and the punter said, yes, well, we'll lay that on. We'll lay the 5 to 4 on, and they laid the $1.70 on. And as I say, it just strolled away. The margins were 2.3 lengths. It beat the second pick, Norzita, who went from $5 out to $6.50, and Norzita came from midfield and was safely held. And it was another 5.1 lengths from the winner running third was Shea Harmony, and it came from second last down the outside. That, as I say, beaten easily. The winner is pretty good, and they were really spread out there. Who led on the fence? Well, it led Prosier, but it wasn't on the fence. Horse closest to the fence, it ran fourth, and that was Red Dynamite. So if you want to say it was in the worst going, I'm going to have to look at the tape again tomorrow to see what it would make up my mind. Most probably was. Race 3, on the screen, 104.9, only the even 100 in the marketplace. And there were 3 runners in this race that just didn't have a price. And they were made up a little bit of purr too. The top weight, Raya Moral, from having its first start here in Australia from New Zealand, after racing in New Zealand, it went from $10 out to $14. Bray Rowan, it went from $9 out to $17, and number 9, Madiba Gold, it went from $8 to $15. Those 3 runners never had a price. So you're looking at 16. You're nearly looking at there's 18 and 19% there that just didn't exist. And the race was won by the very well backed Cup of Tea. $6 was given in the outside ring Cup of Tea. Went up about $4.60, got to $5 quickly. Bookies reached $5.50, plenty of it. It got to 6 in the outside ring, as I say, and then it was crunched. The pros stepped in, had a large plate. They said, we'll have the $5.50. We'll have your $5. Started $4.60, hard to get. They didn't even start that. Might have only started the $4.40. Extremely well backed. The favourite in the race, Heartbreak Hotel, it didn't have a price at the finish. It was $4 given in the outside ring, only returned $3.70. It was always firm in the market. After the $4 was taken in the outside ring, it was into $3.50, but then got to $3.70. It was very hard to lay towards the end of betting. Got to $3.80, and hard to find a customer for it. Very late, they returned at $5 Prince Piedro SP, but that was taken right as they jumped. And I didn't see $5.50. It was always firm. Went from $4 out to $5 and stayed that price all the way through the betting practically. And as the race was no good, the figures were hopeless. The second horse was very well backed. Well, getting back to Cup of Tea, it sat in about third last position. Then he was forced to make a run of the 800 metre mark. It was wide at the 600. When they turned for home, he got into about fourth hole off the track. You can see he was travelling all right and possibly in the best part of the track. And he was able to just hang on. Coming through on the inside and extremely well back was Flaming Rock, who hadn't raced for a long time, resuming for a long spell. Trialled fairly. It sat third on the fence behind the leader, the New Zealand horse Raya Moral, and even though he got inside, it didn't go close to the fence. He was, and as they got close to the line, he kept on veering out. But as I say, did have to go inside the leader, so his run was pretty good, and especially resuming from such a long spell. Only went down by 0.5 of a length, and coming from well back in the field behind the tailing the winner was Madiba Gold, who copped a bit of a check at the start, but had his chance. Would have been a big result for the captains. Madiba Gold, as I say, didn't have a price, went from $8 to $16. And that's about all I'd say there. The winner got most probably in the right section of the track, but still a good win. Race 4, 100.9 on the screen, pretty skinny. So you imagine what was in the marketplace, only 92 here. And winning the race was the very well backed Thumbtacks. Similar to the previous winner, Cup of Tea, $6 was given in the outside ring about Thumbtacks. Went up $5, got to $5.50, 6 in the outer. But you think it wasn't back. The pros said, we're still hungry here. We'll have another large plate of this one if we don't mind, thanks. And in they stepped, and they took the $5.50, the $5, the $4.80, the $4.60, and the $4.40. Started $4.20. Very hard to get Thumbtacks. Sat in fourth hole, got a charmer in between runners. And this is the race where I said that Soldad, it bet on the fence, stayed close to the fence. And when they turned for home, Karen got a break on the field. He didn't let Voice come out of the lead early. He went around it and took the lead. And coming up on his outside was Andacon before the turn, but he got rid of it. And as I say, got clear. He most probably got two and a bit lengths clear when he sprinted. But and gradually eased off the fence and might have been 4 off when they hit the winning post. But that start being on the fence before that could have taken its toll. And right on the line, after getting a good run in about fourth hole, sucking up behind the leaders, was Thumbtacks, ridden by Jay Collette, and bobbed him on the line, nosed him out, 0.1 the length was the margin. And in between them was Gangster's Choice, who was a bit easy in the market. It was only beaten 0.3 of the length, but well, never. I shouldn't say never going to win. It was there. It could have. It looked like it was going to learn at one stage, but as I say, not going to get there. But it only just failed. It went up $5 and got to $6.50. Very hard to lay Gangster's Choice in a race where there was only 92% given. It was not worth a caser. And well, Spinwich. $5.50 given about Spinwich, started $4.80, and it got beat easily, about 6 point odd lengths. And the trainer and jockey said that the firm surface was against it today. Race 5, here we saw Piero on the screen, only 99.7, a little bit less in the marketplace, 96%. The Urges got us all during the week, didn't they? The Urges, they're pretty good, the Urges. Wouldn't know the difference between a lollipop and a boppy pop. They said, oh, no, they had it lame. They had it lame. They had it. The lights have gone out here. Most probably haven't paid the bill. They had it lame, coat dull, jarring up, and all the you wouldn't know that. So they don't know, and of course it just made its price a lot better for everybody who wanted to back it. Like a steam tug, I gave $1.90 for something, and at the death they did lay you $1.60 on. The betting you could have still got $1.60 when they jumped, but it was very hard to get. The betting would have gone for another 2 minutes. It would have been laid on and would have started at $1.55. Nash just jumped it out, sat outside Ashcan, who went straight to the lead, and turned for home off the fence. He gave the colt its head, and away it went. And by the same token, he was full bore, and we all know the story. It's only had the 2 track gallops in between races without a barrier trial, which made everybody start thinking. And you can't give them up, can you? They're doing their best. Your Song, it drew barrier 1, sat third on the fence. It raced very close to the fence all the way up the straight. It wouldn't come into the mounting yard. Your Song wanted a prop, so and as I say, stayed close to the fence. So if the going was worse in there, its run was fairly good. I suppose with All Too Hard, it's most probably finally put its hand up in the air. It was in between runners in the field of 6, in the second last position, third last position, and you know, for the wraps that were on this horse, it was entitled to run on a bit better than it did, but it got beat just about. It got beat just under 3 lengths, so it's most probably not as good as once thought. What else do you say there? That's about all. Race 6. On the screen, 106.7, a lot less in the marketplace, 99% only. And this winner, another one to go, Glen Cardam Gold, it went straight to the lead from barrier 1 out of the 800 metre, starting at the 1800 metre mark, very short run to the first turn. Got an easy sectional, but he and travelled very, very well. Interestingly, it was ridden by Tommy Berry, and it did start favourite at $2.90, hard to get. I was making the card now. It didn't start $2.90, started $2.80 after $3.50 bet in the outside ring. And as I say, ridden by Tommy Berry. Nathan Berry was on the second pick, Stout Hearted, trained by Waller. And they rode it quite as they stated. They liked to ride it. It's the only way to ride the horse. And it settled down in 4th last position. And Gay was rolling along the front. But as I say, he was, even though he drew barrier 1, he was always off the fence. He hit the first bend and was leading. And he steered a course 3 off the fence all the way to the turn. And then got a little bit wider turning to the middle of the track. I did my money on the race, turning for home when the rest of the field had made their runs before that, but they were starting to make ground. I must admit, for a stride, I said, well, they'll get this leader for sure. But then when he balanced it up, and it's a fairly big horse. Just look, I haven't seen it in the flesh. Just looking out on the television, which you can't judge at all, of course. He balanced it up, and it ran away. It was a very strong win, 1.8 lengths to finish up winning by. And as I say, $3.50 was given in the outer and $3.40 on the fence, and only started $2.80. By the same token, the second pick was very well backed, Stout Hearted. It went up $3, favourite in front of Glen Cardam Gold, and it was quickly reached out to $3.50. But down he started $3, was into $3.20 at one stage, started $3.30. As I say, made up plenty of ground, beaten 2 lengths. Running second in the race was Permit, who was in front of it, and the both of them came down the outside. Sticking closest to the fence in that race was the Verminator, stablemate to the second horse. The Verminator drew barrier 3, and Nash stayed close to the fence all the way down the straight, and it ran 4th, beaten 2.5 lengths. The others more or less had their chance. The winner was a good effort. The 7th race in the marketplace, 107.3, on the screen only 102%. There were well, the SP of the number 5 Furbian, it was a bit strange. They returned at $4 favourite. Well, I was $4.60 when they jumped, and I was $4.40 for 5 minutes before that. It was at least $4.20 on the fence on plenty of boards. SP $4 seemed a bit skinny. As I said, 107.3 on the screen, only 102 in the marketplace, and this was a good result for Bookie Sables. It went up $9 and got out to $11. Sables, and it was trapped a little bit wide early in the race, but then after travelling halfway, ridden by Christian Reith, he was able to slot in and get onto the back of Furbian. And when they turned home, they fanned a bit, the stablemate and was on his back. Peck was back in the field behind her, but finish up easing off the fence or in between runners, and by the time they got to the turn was on the winner's back, Sables, and Peck and they ran first and second. But the winner was a fairly strong win. Going back 2 starts ago when Thurbian won at Hawkesbury, Sables ran fourth in that race, and most probably Sables should have won that race at Hawkesbury that day. Sat wide the entire journey. I think I might have said on the review that it was as good a run as Thurbian, and the price difference today was I didn't think they should have been that far apart, but anyway, it was a good strong win. There was a runner very well backed in this race, O'Reilly's Prize, who went very ordinary. $8 given about O'Reilly's Prize. Plenty of well, not a lot of it, but $8 given. Only started $5.50, and it set up nice and handy in second position, and ridden by Nash. And he said he thought there was something amiss with it, so he didn't fully write it out. He said it was beaten on the turn. As I say, it was well backed. Thurbian was backed, but very hard to lay at the death. Peck, it was hard to lay in the market. Got from 550 out to 650. Exceed and Exalt, well backed. Thought it was a distance down at the 2,000 metres, and that's what the rider said. $8.50 given, but only started 7. Was in the 650 at one stage, and that was about the race. The figures, there was something there to work with, but there were quite a few runners that were unlayable. The last race came along, and on the screen it said a fat 109.1, but there was only 100 in the marketplace. There were runners in this race that were a little bit hard to lay. Well, number 1 was hard to lay next to University. It went from $17 to $31. And when I say, well, nearly every other, well, besides it, well, Inga Magic, it wasn't backed. SP was only $15. It went from $12 to $20. It was $20 when they jumped on the rails. The other runner, which was very easy at the finish, was Urgent Bells. It went from $5, and at the death you could get $7 Urgent Bells, and it didn't have a price. Miss Marks, the second horse, it was extremely well backed. Bookies, I did see $8 about Miss Marks, plenty of $7, only started $5.50. I already told you early in the piece about Emotional Circus. It went up $3.70, second favourite Emotional Circus, but got to $7 on one board on the fence. Started $6.50. $6.50 was taken at one stage into $6, but started $6.50, and it settled down in second last position in between runners. And when they turned for home, he didn't pull to the extreme outside. He went inside a couple of runners, then eased off heels halfway up the straight, and he grabbed victory right on the line, beating Miss Marks by 0.2 of a length. It was a pretty good run. Miss Marks, it set outside the leader and favourite, rushing to win. And here's another one where the SP is a little bit strange. It was returned $3.10, while I was straight opposite, looking at $3.50 on the fence when they jumped. Bit of difference, and I thought it was well under the odds, and I didn't stand it for as much as I would have liked to have. I was trying to catch it right because there were no figures. $3.50 was taken early in the piece into $3.20. You could have laid it for $3.30, whatever you wanted, and $3.40 at one stage, but I missed the boat. I did get something out of it, but as I say, it was $3.50 begging at the finish, only returned $3.10. What else was backed in the race? The bottom weight, it was extremely well backed. Don't Blink, the only 3-year-old in the race, 3-year-old filly, up against the older. Up against the mares, and there was $8 given about it, but only started, well, they turned at $5.50, but it was $6 when they jumped. It went from $6 out to $8, back into $6. Don't Blink, and it sat just behind him on the pace. It ran a fair race, and that's about all you'd say there. The winner came from well back in the field and hooking off heels to grab victory. As I say, it was a good win, and it's easy now, but I suppose the $6.50 was good odds. The track, as I say, how do you sum this track up? There wasn't leaders won, but they never stayed near the fence. If you did stay near the fence, unfortunately, thinking about it, it was most probably inferior, and off the fence was best. So that's about all I'd say. Another hard day at the office. I'll go and try and fix this light. That's if this one's on still here, but I think the other one's fused. That's about all I'd say to you. Speak to you during the week. Good evening.